Hello, I'm going to start doing some videos on tools, processes, things that I use on a regular basis that I find really helpful that I hope you will find helpful too. Mermaid is where I'm going to start. So I haven't heard of Mermaid until recently, and I'm hoping there's other people in the same situation as me because this is a super useful tool for highlighting your ideas. Mermaid is a way of creating diagrams using plain text, which sounds really simple because it is. And Mermaid kind of runs within other programs. So a bunch of programs accept Mermaid now. So you've got like a list on the integration section on their site. Like Confluence has a plugin, Visual Studio Code has a plugin, a bunch of other places, which means it accepts the Mermaid syntax and then shows you the diagrams based on that syntax. What I'm not going to do today is go through the syntax itself. I think that would make for a boring video. And honestly, it's so simple that when you see it, you'll kind of get it. What I want to do is just highlight a few examples. And I'm going to have an accompanying blog post where you can copy and paste those examples so that hopefully you can sort of, just get ahead of using it and start to think about where it might help you highlight points. And I think that's a really a good place to start with Mermaid. Is this isn't really going to replace a big spreadsheet of thousands of rows in a sitemap or using Miro on a massive kind of collaborative project. I think Mermaid is absolutely perfect for when you want to highlight a point and go through something and you haven't got that much time to put something together. So I'm going to show you a few examples and I'm going to use Notion to do so. If you don't use Notion, don't worry, like the syntax is the same across whether you're using it on Notion, Confluence or any of the other things that I just went through. In Notion though, they do it really well. Like they've got this little preview block where you've got code preview split, so you can switch between the code, the preview and the split of both. And just to give you a really just to highlight how useful this is and how quickly it can be useful. This bit here, flowchart LR, you can just change this from LR to RL, left, right to right, left, and it changes the diagram, or TD, top down, changes the diagram. That's how quickly you can use it, right? And I've used this for a sitemap. Sitemaps are something that if you work in SEO or web development design, you're constantly going through sitemaps, and often you just kind of want to agree on the sitemap and then move on to something else and document your choices. So in this instance, I've just put together this sitemap. Like you've got a homepage which goes to test here. You can change that test to contact us, and that immediately updates on the diagram. Like using plain text to do this stuff is just quick. And it also means you can kind of transport this somewhere else. So I could paste this into Confluence if I wanted, or GitHub, or wherever I need to use it. But the thing that I found it most useful for is to just highlight points. So I want to give a couple more quick examples. Like this page types versus search intent. This is something that I am constantly doing, right? I look at a project and I go, from an SEO point of view or a PPC point of view, I go, okay, what pages do we have? Who are we aiming, to land on those pages, and what are they going to do when they land on those pages? But it's also something that I'm constantly highlighting and constantly explaining because I don't think that is a natural thought process for most people. Again, like just to show you how powerful this is. This has got like these little subgraphs behind it and everything, but this is a top-down version. I mean, this might actually look better in left to right. Boom, it's immediately changes. It's a really quick way of highlighting things like that. I think that's a really good example because that's something that I do constantly. Conversion tagging, being able to document the exact GTM event and what's going to come into, be fired into Google Analytics. This is something I'm constantly doing, especially if you're working with teams, across development, marketing, etc. You're going to have these flows that are quite simple, but in the back end, there's things going on, and to be able to highlight those at the same time could be, really easy way to do that is using Mermaid. This syntax kind of might look a bit complicated at first, but as soon as you start reading it, you'll realize exactly what it does. And then a really simple use case is just literally a just the one stage flow diagram. Like sometimes you just need to highlight a point like that, and I think Mermaid is perfect for this. There's much more you can do with Mermaid. There's this one as an example, we've got like I guess you'd call this styling, I suppose. There's a bunch of different kind of things that you can play around with. I would say at first just keep it simple. Copy and paste this sitemap, have a play around with it. It will immediately start to spark ideas of where you can use it. I think it's a super powerful tool. Like I've put together my thoughts 10 minutes before a meeting in diagram form, just to highlight a point using a diagram. And I think Mermaid is just the perfect tool to do that. And the fact that it works within so many other things that we're probably already using is really cool as well. So hopefully you find that useful, and give me a subscribe on my channel and all that good stuff.